All right, friends, I want to share with you a story that really hit my heart. I'll tell you why at the end. So, in 1948, Rabbi Yonah Balkind ran a little synagogue and a cheder. Basically, he would have the kids over the whole Shabbat, and then after school, they would end Shabbat together and they would pray the evening services together. And everyone in the community knew that if you missed a Maariv by the regular synagogue, so then you could come to Rabbi Yonah's house. So one night, one lovely evening in 1948 in Manchester, there's a man who comes and he wants to recite Kaddish. And so Rabbi Yonah says, okay, no problem. And he says Kaddish. And hold on, Alicia wants to be part of the story. Wait a second. Oh. So he's telling the story. Sorry. So he has him over. And this guy starts coming regularly. He wasn't fully Orthodox. He wanted to say Kaddish, and every night he would come to the Balkind's house, or Fiona's house, and they developed a friendship. Now, one night, this man, let's call him Mr. Thomas, not his real name, he was a little bit perturbed. He was a little bit sad. So Fiona comes up to him and says, "What's wrong?" He says, "Listen, I have a big court case coming soon, and I don't know what to do." He says, What's going on? What's the court case? The story goes that in a few months earlier, this man had invested a lot of money, £25,000, which was like a fortune back then. And he had bought a bunch of sewing machines and thought it was a good investment. He shows up, and guess what? All of the sewing machines had been switched for broken sewing machines. And he was totally messed over. There was no parts in the marketplace to fix it. So he sues the guy. He says, "You cheated me." And the guy says, "What are you talking about? Nothing ever happened." And this guy, Mr. Thomas, realizes there was only one witness, the manager, who knew the truth, that everything had been good and had been switched. And she was nowhere to be found. No one could track her down. And he'd been trying to do everything. But the court case was coming, and he knew the truth was he was going to lose the court case because he did not have any proof that this guy had cheated him. So Rabbi Yonah says, "Listen, I'm no prophet, but it's Saturday night, and once a month we have this special mitzvah called Dancing with the Moon. What we do is Kiddush Levana. When we see the moon, we sing and dance to God and greet the new month, not to the moon, but to God. And there's a special verse which we recite. We say, just as I'm dancing, like I'm dancing now with Alicia, just as I'm dancing for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for God, but I can't touch him, so too my enemies shouldn't be able to touch me." And so the guy says, okay, and he dances and he recites it with all his heart, and he does the mitzvah of Kiddush Havana, which is done so joyously in every Jewish synagogue on Saturday nights once a month. So a few days later, Rav Yonah gets a call from Mr. Thomas, and he is ecstatic. Listen to what had happened. You see, he was looking for the manager, right? He gets a phone call, and the manager's on the phone and says, "Listen, I want to come right now. I want to testify for you." He says, "Where are you?" "I'm in Ireland." "Where have you been?" He says, "Let me tell you a crazy story. You see, Mr. Thomas, I know what your dad looks like, because one day when you bought the store, I saw your father. And your father came to me in a dream a few nights ago, and he said, 'Do a Jew a good turn. Do my son a favor.' And then I just ignored it. But he came back the next night in a dream. And I knew that this was a divine sign, and I had to help you." So what had happened? The cheat, the boss, had given me a lot of money and told me to go to Ireland, get lost for a couple of months, and I'll pay you a lot of money. And if you do come back, I'm going to ruin your business and your life. And so I did. I was scared, I'll be honest. But after that dream, I have courage. I need to come and testify. And so it was. She came back, but since the cheat knew that he was in trouble, instead of going to court, they settled it out of court, and Mr. Thomas got all of his money back. And when was that night that the dream happened? The exact same night they did that little moon dance. They prayed that their enemies should not be able to touch them. Perhaps it was in the merit of the Mesiras Nefesh, of that extra self-sacrifice of going out of their way to do a mitzvah, to do a good deed, that Mr. Thomas was privy to divine help and to his dad's help from the next world. So that the next time that we do Kiddush Lavana, we can really say that with Kavanah. I'll tell you why that story, I love it, because when I was in the army, I remember my first time I was ever doing a shift on my own, and I was guarding over a whole community, and I was so scared. And I got off my shift on a Saturday night, and I sang the Kiddush Lavana, and I said, please let our enemies not touch us, because I don't know what I'm doing. And thank God, all went smoothly. So I hope you guys have a little bit more kavanah the next time you say that prayer. And you can say a prayer right now. Please, God, in the merit of us dancing to do your holy service, may our enemies, may all the negativity in the world not be able to touch us. Have a gorgeous day. And thank you to Rabbi Yosef Weiss, his beautiful book, Visions of Greatness, who privileged us with his wonderful story. Have a great day.